Hello, it's good to be back. Looking at the old videos, I noticed that I left a lot to be desired in terms of production quality. So I decided to take some time, do some research, get some advice, up my setup a little bit to make this a channel that's worth your time. So got some new equipment and everything. Hopefully the videos look a lot better. And I wanted to come back with a I didn't want to come back and just do a P bass or something. I wanted to come back and do something a little bit different. And this bass certainly fits the bill for that. This is the ESP LTD GB4. LTD is ESP's more budget-friendly line, and they have basses ranging from a couple $100s all the way up to $1,500 and $1,600. This one is right in the middle of that. They go for about $900, give or take, on brand new. And me personally, I think that I've tried just about all of the LTDs over the years. And I think this is by far the best all-around bass that they have to offer in the LTD line. And unfortunately, it's not mine. This belongs to another great YouTuber by the name of Low End Lobster. He was gracious enough to lend me this instrument to make my miraculous comeback. And so you should definitely go check out his channel. He has videos with this bass, and he has quite the collection. So he's definitely worth checking out. So with the specs with this bass, we have a swamp ash body, maple neck, maple fingerboard, and the neck is, I'll give you the numbers. It's a 400 millimeter radius, 38 millimeter nut width, and their thin U profile. What that all translates to is it really just has like a modern Fender-esque feel to the neck. The fingerboard's nice and flat. You can get the action really low on it. And nut width, it's not super narrow, not super wide. It sits really, it's right in that sweet spot that you want it to be in. And it's a bone nut, which is really good for a bass in this price range. Tuners are ESP LTD vintage tuners. They very, very well. They're definitely a lighter weight. There's no headstock dive or anything with this bass. Our bridge is a Godo, just a regular Godo bridge, solid. And electronics, we have two Seymour Duncan SSB4 pickups and an active preamp, volume, pan between the two pickups, mid, and then a stack pot for bass and treble. So let's get into some tones with this. We'll start out very, very basic. Both pickups on full, preamp set flat. Very punchy, very clear, almost a 70s jazz bass vibe, maybe a little bit beefier. So let's this is neck pickup soloed. Very, very gritty, very, very powerful, a lot of punch. Almost in that P bass neighborhood. So we'll go, this is the bridge pickup solo. Again, preamp is flat. Very, 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 very Jaco Pastorius. Very, it definitely has its place. Good tone. So getting into this preamp a little bit, I really like the parameters of this preamp. It never gets too super harsh. So many active preamps, they make that frequency range as wide as possible, but it's not, so much of it is just unusable that it begs the question, why did you go this far with this thing? But people like different things. That's just, for me personally, I like subtlety with an active preamp, at least a little bit of subtlety. So I took this bass to a rehearsal. Not really much going on in gigs right now, but I took this bass to a rehearsal and played it with a trio, so just me, drum, and a guitar, and found a few tones I really, really like. My favorite one by far was I ran both pickups, boosted the mids just a little bit, cut the treble just a little bit, and boost the bass just a little bit. I love that tone. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's I'm very much a groove player, and it's perfect. It sits in the mix. It adds so much depth, especially in a trio where there's not a lot of, there's only two other instruments. So you want something that's going to add that depth, and this does that very well without sacrificing the clarity in that setting. Let's try a little mid scoop. So a lot of people scoop mids a little bit. So this is just the mids dialed back to like, we'll say 9 o'clock. Very, very good modern sound. Very, very good modern sound. Another one I had was I soloed the neck pickup and did the same thing, but I left the mids alone, cut treble just a little bit. That's very much like a good rock tone, just straight ahead rock tone. It's very, very beefy, very, very just, you sacrifice a little bit of clarity, but not enough to really, for it to be detrimental. So another one, let's try. I actually left both pickups on and just boosted treble just a little bit. So say treble's at like, this is treble at like 3 o'clock-ish. Again, it's not too harsh or anything. In a mix, it might sound a little clicky by itself, but in a mix, it comes out quite nice. So another area that this bass really excels in is slap style. They definitely made this with slap bassists in mind. So we have this slap switch, and this isn't the first bass to have a slap switch, but what I like about it, I'll just let you hear it first, and then I'll tell you what I dig. So this is without, the slap switch disengaged. Couple of flubs there, but we're informal. So that's without the slap switch. That is without the slap switch and both pickups on and the preamp flat. So we're going to do the same thing with the slap switch engaged, and hopefully we won't flub on this one. So you can definitely tell a difference. There's way more of a bloom to the slap style. It's slight mid cut, but what I really like is it's not so other bass. I've played other basses with slap switches. Court used to be really big into them. They used to put them on a few different models, but this one, it would scoop out like all the mids. This one is a little bit more subtle, and it adds to the. I think that's why so often when you play slap and when you scoop all those mids out, you can get buried in the mix when you're playing with a band. So this one, it only scoops out a little bit, and I think that's why it's still very present in the mix. I noticed that playing at that rehearsal, that it was still very, very present in the mix. You could still hear it. It didn't just get buried instantly like so many other basses when you scoop the mids out like that. And I think that's a testament to these pickups. I'm not typically not the biggest fan of Seymour Duncan pickups, but these sound very, very good. They're not too harsh. They're very very, very punchy, and they add a lot, but they don't. My problem with Seymour Duncan usually is that they're really, really hot, just really, really hot. And these ones, they're definitely hot, but it's not so overbearing. So it's they definitely picked the right pickups for this bass. So that goes into kind of, the like-dislike section of the video, right? So we'll start off with the likes. Every single ESP I think I've ever picked up, regardless, maybe I didn't like the way it played or the way it sounded, but they've all been extremely well built, and this is no exception. I went over this thing. I can't notice any sort of finish flaws, all the fit and finish is great. Everything intonates the way it should. Everything, there's no grinding in the tuners. It's just very, very well built instrument, very good components and everything. And I can't say enough good about it. The other thing is it has a wheel adjust for the truss rod, which if you do your own setups, I wish that these were more common than what they are. Very few companies really use these a lot, and it really should, when you do your own setups and you use the Allen wrenches, they get stuck and you got to jiggle them out, and because it's just pot metal in there, you might sacrifice the integrity of the adjustment piece, and it just, I wish every company just went to these wheels, and not every LTD has them, but you're seeing more and more of it, so that's a good sign. And I love this color. Seafoam green's cool, man. It pops on stage, it looks good under stage lights, and it's a good color. They only offer one other color, and it's black, and it has a rosewood fingerboard with a black headstock. And that's kind of where we get into the dislikes. That's the only two colors you can get this in. So if you're not super into seafoam green, and you don't want to have another black guitar, you're kind of sunk in that regard. So I would like to see some more color options, and no case, which, that's just kind of common nowadays. A lot of basses don't, when you get around that $1,000 mark, I really think that a case should be included, even if it's just a gig bag or something, just a cheap padded gig bag, just something, even if it's just for shipping it. Those are two very nitpicky things. Honestly, neither one of them would be a deal breaker for me. I would gladly pay $900 for this bass, and I might. I was very, very impressed with it, and it is kind of on my list of basses I want at this stage in the game. So that's the review. Please like and subscribe, and definitely in the comments let me know what I can do better for the next one. And invite 50 of your closest friends to subscribe as well. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.